Thanks for watching again. If you tuned in a few previous time to watch me on my journey to get this thing painted, I'll explain briefly for those who haven't watched the previous two episodes what I'm doing here. I'm painting another body for my FG Sportsline four-wheel drive car. It's an Audi DTM body. Previous episodes I basically unboxed the body because that's what people do first. Afterwards I mounted these accessories, the spoiler, everything to make it complete prior to painting and prior to masking it up. Today I'm going to take it off the chassis. I'm going to put the chassis aside because I won't be needing that for a while. And after that I'll be washing out the body and applying some liquid mask the way I do it. I've only used liquid mask once before on the BMW body that I painted for the same chassis. It's pretty much straightforward. I've seen a lot of videos people using liquid mask. I used to be a tape only painter, but converted to the liquid mask with the more complex forms of the more complex shapes of the shells. It is really easy to use. There's different brands out there. I'll be mentioning a few and I'll be putting a few links in the description box below. So if you want to go ahead and use it yourself, you can find it over there. Basically every hobby shop can supply you with liquid mask. I believe it is Bob Dively or Dively who has a quite popular painting mask. I myself use a brand called Sign Strip. It's not too known, but what I like about the Sign Strip, after reading up on what other companies provide, is that Sign Strip, it doesn't have like an expiration date. So it's not like you brush it on the shell and you need to like peel it off within 48 hours. You can take your time, and I like that. Painting is all about patience and it's all about taking your time. So yeah, for me the Sign Strip stuff, it works really well. Washing out the body, I'm going to use it's not like a Scotch-Brite sponge, but it's a sponge with a one side has a bit of a rougher face. I'm going to use the soft face for the windows. When I'm cleaning it out, I'm going to use some hand soap as well. That way I get rid of all the residue that might be left after thermal forming the shell. And I'm going to use the more coarse side of the sponge to roughen up all the parts that are going to see a lot of paint and a lot of masking. So basically I'm going to leave the windows untouched when washing it. I'm going to take good care of those to make sure they're as transparent as they can get after I'm done with all my painting, and the rest I'm going to roughen it up a tiny bit just to make sure I have some good adhesion going on between first my liquid mask and afterwards my paint. This is like a quick intermission. If you're not familiar with large-scale RC, with FG cars for example, or how they size up, how big they are. I have a lot of people who drop by and they might have seen the videos, like family for example, and they say, you know, it's really hard to see the actual size of these cars when they're sitting on the table right in front of you. When you see them in real life, they're that much bigger. Well, you know, let me give you the ultimate way, if you are not familiar with these cars, to scale them up. I'm 1.90 m, that's 6'1", 6'2" in the United States. I will lay two of those bodies on the floor and I will go lay next to them. That way you see that one of those bodies is basically the size of half of my body. So they're huge. See that? Two shells, it's like the same size as me, so they're huge. Washed out the shell. I know it's almost impossible to tell, but I used this is the sponge that I was referring to earlier, with the more coarse face and the softer face. I used that more coarse face to scuff up these parts that are outside of the window areas just a tiny bit, just to create a tiny bit more of an adhesion between the lexan and the paint afterwards. Like I said, it's all clean, it's all good to go. I use this non-fibrin cloth to get rid of all the water residue that was left after the body basically air dried on its own. What I did, flipped the body upside down, poured some warm water in there, put some hand soap on my sponge, gave the whole body a cleaning. Afterwards I rinsed it out in the shower. These things are so big, if you try to rinse it out in your kitchen, the floor will get wet, everybody will be unhappy with you. So do it in the shower, that's a really good idea. That one, got that covered. What's this? This is the sign strip liquid mask I was talking about earlier. I want to say thank you to my buddy Keith. I know Keith for a few years now. He is a really talented painter. He is familiar with my previous work, in which I only used regular masking tape, and he said, dude, you really need to convert to a liquid mask. He said, you'll thank me afterwards. Well, hereby officially, thanks Keith. It is awesome, it really is. It's called sign strip. Really easy. Use a regular paintbrush to brush it on. I'll be brushing on about 4 or 5 coats of the stuff. I do like cross strokes, so one stroke I'm going to go from front to back completely, over the sides as well, and then the next coat of liquid mask I'm going to apply left to right. Then again front to back, then again left to right, just until I reach the thickness that I want to have. The thing I noticed with the BMW is the thicker you liquid mask, you don't want to overdo it of course, but the thicker your liquid mask, the easier it is to peel it out, and the easier it is to stay on if you tear it away. That way you make sure that you don't peel away any liquid mask that you don't want to peel off yet. The thinner it is, the harder it is to peel it out. You will need to rub it with your fingernail, and you want to avoid doing that. So use enough liquid mask, but don't overdo it. I see a lot of people pouring liquid mask inside their shells. It may work for them and it may work with other brands, but with this stuff I like to brush on an even coat, and just a dip in your brush in the jar. You know, it's not that much of a job, and you end up with a nice even coat. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to film it. Might be really boring, so you might want to skip the next few minutes of the video, and let's see how it turns out. Now it says on the jar that you can thin it, but I chose not to. No particular reason why. I guess this just worked for me. You can see it's rather thick. It's a bit like a yogurt. I start out in the front, and I just brush it on. There's really not that much to it. Just make sure that, like when you're painting your house, for example. I don't know if you ever painted your house. Make sure you get all the liquid in the tiny nooks. That's pretty important. Also when peeling. You'll notice once you start peeling that, especially in those tiny nooks and along those lines, it's really important to have enough liquid mask in there in order to peel it. Otherwise you end up scraping it out and whatnot, and you don't want that to happen. Start out with the more complex shapes first, like those air vents in the front, and I just gradually work my way inwards to the more flat spots, like the main part of the bonnet. Now as your liquid mask is drying, you will see that it looks like a right mess, just like mine. It will slowly turn transparent. You can already see it happening over here. This is one of the areas where I started brushing it on. It will completely dry up, and when it's completely dry, it will be transparent. This one will have a bit of a blue glow over it. You can also see that in the previous video in which I me pointing in space again, painted up the BMW. It has a blue glow to it, but that's just fine as long as you can see through it, and as long as you can see the lines that you will put on the outside of your shell. There is no problem in having a bit of color to it. I know other brands, for example, like Pactra, they dry up completely transparent. It's almost impossible to notice that there is any liquid mask on the shell at all. But this particular one, the sign strip, has a blue gloss. Make sure to be patient and to wait till it is completely transparent before you brush on that other coat. Otherwise you end up with a really thick, not completely dry coat of liquid mask, which will cause you a lot of problems afterwards when you get around to cutting it. You can of course just wait and put it in the corner, wait for it to dry. What you can also do is, like I will do, is take your Sharpie. My Sharpie is not a Sharpie, my Sharpie is an Edding. It's an Edding 142M. It's an OHP marker. I think I use it to write stuff on CDs and things like that. You can take your marker and you can start basically putting on a few basics of the design. There's a few known factors in every shell, especially in these realistic looking ones. And those are, for example, the windows, the window trims, the headlights, the grille, the air intakes, the exhaust, the tail lights. There's a ton of stuff that you can, before even determining the rest of your design, that you can already fill in. You can already cross those out sort of, and afterwards you can determine which fields you have left to fill in with something that makes your shell different than all the others out there. So what I'll be doing right now, I'll be tracing the outlines of the windows over here, of the doors, the window trims around the doors, maybe even the door handles. I'm not too sure about those yet. The headlights, the grille, I'll be tracing all of those with my marker, and it will give me a good feel and a good view on what there's left to customize afterwards. And the good thing is, with all those known factors, you have limited space, and with that limited space you will have to work and you will have to tweak that look to make it look like something different, to make it look like something that really stands out in the crowd. And that's what it's all about with custom painting. I will speed this up for you. You don't have to see me do all this stuff in real time. Now, as you need to put on 4 or 5 coats of liquid mask, you have plenty of time to lay your design on there. I use drawing arches as well to draw on all the curved shapes, and some regular rulers if I have some straight shapes. Keep in mind, you can inspire your car on any race car out there. It's a simple matter of dividing the body panels into a few simpler sections that you can easily trace and that you can easily measure your design up against. If you divide the car in 2, for example, right down the middle, you can determine what needs to go left, what needs to go right. If you need to just go measure stuff, it is fairly simple. I came across this really cool race car livery the other day. It's new for 2013. I think they've raced a few cars in that same livery last year, but I'm not too sure about that. I found an Audi R8 that had a RumBum Racing livery. Now, upon googling some more images, I also came across an explanation of the word RumBum on Urban Dictionary. And if you're interested, because I'm not even going to tell you what it says, but if you're interested, go Google on the Urban Dictionary what a RumBum actually is. It's so disgusting. I like the colors, but a RumBum is so disgusting. I'm not going to write RumBum on this car because I want to be able to look at it without having to puke. So I'm going to replace the word RumBum with most likely FG Motorsport or Hemi-Storm. Whatever. I'm going to personalize it because that's what it's all about. I will now Google a bit, show you a picture that basically shows a bit of what I intend to do with this vehicle. This is the car I'm going to inspire the design on. I'm not really sure if you can see it on camera. It has a dark blue, a lighter blue, a yellow, and some red going on in the design. I don't want to copy all of the. Oh wow! Look how it magnified itself over there. I don't want to copy all of those advertising things that are on the sill here, for example. So I'm going to leave those off. Just going to stick with the basic theme, which is the face with the two profiled faces, which I thought was pretty funny. You will see what I mean when I'm actually laying it on or cutting it. And there's a few globes going on, and then you have all those stripes making it look almost like a fingerprint. So while I'm liquid masking those other 4 coats, I'll be putting on my lines, making sure that I know where to cut, and I think the next episode will be about me cutting this shell, awaiting my paint to arrive. So hope to see you next time as well. I hope you will join me on the complete journey of getting this thing painted and ready for the spring season. As you can see behind me, it is super snowy out here, so I got no business going out with the FG Sportsline now anyways, because I won't have any grip. Hope you found this video somewhat informative. If you did, give it a thumbs up. I hope you will share it with a friend, get them to join in and subscribe. If you have any tips, suggestions, questions, or if you just want to shoot me a message, leave a comment in the box below. Thank you for watching. Have a really nice time painting if you're going to take up your own project, and I hope to see you around. Thanks.